want to start talking about the defense with you. I know that's the area you have so much pride in. Where have you seen it fall short in these second halves, and where do you think are some ways that it could improve?
Just pride, communication. A big part of it. Just communicating, covering for one another, trusting each other. I think we all try to do the right thing, with the lack of communication that goes on. We're not, mind readers, so we're not talking. We can, be thinking we're doing the right thing, but, the other four guys or the other guy, that you're in action with might not know what's going on. So I think we just pick up our communication and we'll be fine on the defensive end.
Yeah, so JJ had said after the Denver game, he thought the second half, the spirit wasn't there. He didn't think that was quite the same today. But can that be tied into the communication? Can that build, like when a team keeps scoring?
What do you mean by spirit?
That was just the word after the Denver game, like the collective spirit of the group. I don't know if that means. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but just the spirit of the team seemed like it wasn't there. Like it looked like they were down as Denver was building that lead. Does that make sense?
Like competitive spirit or morale. We're like what? I'm not sure what he meant by spirit, but I think anytime a team, I think Denver was a different game. But as far as tonight, once again we just didn't score in the third quarter, and our defensive communication lacked. And they were able to get some open shots, wide open dunks, and shots at the rim. And then now, we got guys in rotation in there spraying out to their shooters for threes. So I think our competitive spirit, is always there every night. I don't think no one comes out and say we don't want to compete. But I think, it can look that way or seem that way, when we're just not on the same page because we're not talking. So we just got to get better in that department.
I imagine communication is easier if people are very familiar with what their assignments are. 17 games in, is it understandable that there's still a level of trying to get familiar with the new stuff?
I think it's not anything, new. I think it's all schemes and terms that we've all been a part of at some point in our career, on whatever team you've been on. Dalton, it can be new, but for everybody else, I think the scheme, you've probably seen, on the team before defensively. So we had training camp preseason and now 17 games in where, we know our coverages, our base coverage at least. Obviously that can change game to game, but our base coverage, we should have a good grasp on our schemes. And some nights, like second half tonight and second half in Denver, we didn't execute.
Teams are going to get open shots, especially good offensive teams, but did it feel like there were too many tonight that it just seemed like
open shots? Yeah, wasn't good defensively. So, if we're not talking and we're not good defensively, we're going to have breakdowns, which is going to lead to them having open shots from three or open shots at the rim.
The big picture-wise, in some ways this is a new group because it's a new coaching staff and new systems, but it's a core that's been together for, this is the third season really together. Is this going to have to be a group that is a good team defense? Like just that the individual, you're going to have to be on a string. Like that's just the only way.
If we're going to continue to play how we play in the third quarter on the offensive end, then we're going to have to be a better defensive team. Just that simple. Obviously we want to be able to do both on both ends, but I think at the least we got to, be a pretty good defensive team. We're at the bottom of the pack, and I'm saying, oh man, top 5, top 3, like just in the middle of get to the middle of the pack, can change a lot for us. So we just got to take it one game at a time and, try try to have some pride in ourselves defensively. I could do a better job communicating with our guards and pick and roll actions and trying to quarterback everything out there. But I think we all just have to do a better job, and it's going to start tomorrow.
Where do you think the primary offensive slippage was in the second half?
I have to go back and watch. I know we took a lot of quick shots. We were playing to the shot clock a lot. But I will have to go back and look in the third quarter and see did we get some good shots that we just missed, or were we, just not on the string offensively, and we're taking tough shots. So I'm not completely sure right now, but we still got to find a way to score regardless.
LeBron, we know every opponent is different. Every game is different. Third quarters against Denver and Phoenix, two different teams, two different approaches. But did you see any through lines or any concerns about the defense specifically in these consecutive games?
Not off the top of my head, but obviously we give up too many points in the third, and we're not scoring in the third, so got to shore that up.
And I know you'll have to watch the tape, but any initial thoughts on you just mentioned the offense and kind of that we know that goes and affects the defense as well. But what are anything that you can notice off the top?
Both. We're not very good defensively or very good offensively the last couple games in third.
JJ suggested that after an effort like this defensively, him and his coach staff meant to look at strategies of what you guys are doing defensively. Have you seen anything in terms of schemes that you think could be helped adjusted?
No, whatever our scheme is for the game, we got to go out and execute it.
You guys have been pretty process oriented throughout this, and the results have been mostly good. When you guys are struggling, like especially these last two games, how hard is it to stay both big picture but also committed to the systems and things that you're trying to build?
No, we are a process-oriented team, and we understand what that's not going to happen overnight. So, you stay even keel. You don't get too high and never get too low.
Do you feel like that in these last two games that the stress of losing and struggling has taken you guys out of the stuff you wanted to do?
No, I mean, obviously, throughout the course of the game, you want to play better. It's that simple. And then when you don't, obviously you get, what can you do better? You're frustrated at times, obviously, but you never get frustrated with the process. That is what it is, and you just keep working at it.
You've been self-critical with us about your turnovers so far this season. You had 5 tonight, which is more than your season average. Are you seeing something consistently that's causing them for you so far this season?
No. I'm trying to make the right play. Some of them is just not a good read. Some of them are. Some of them, I could be a little bit more, careful. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to make winning plays. So I don't. It's not a big deal for me.
Austin, JJ mentioned that he liked some things in the first half, the way you guys were getting shots. Thought maybe the score didn't totally reflect it, but what did you see come third quarter as Phoenix pretty much controlled the whole period?
Once again, I just thought we were bad in the third quarter. There's a lot to watch and clean up. Shot selection, taking care of the ball. Obviously, the defensive end had to be more aggressive, more physical. But I think, honestly, there's a little bit of everything you can do, to be better.
Does that compound the frustration for you, just given the Denver loss and the way that game went?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose, it's frustrating. But just not playing good is frustrating. You have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what it is to change or what you need to do to be better. And that's what we'll do.
When JJ got the job, he talked about process being more important and how process eventually lead to good results. He said that again pregame tonight, but when you're in it and you're struggling, how hard is it to stay big picture?
I mean, in the moment, it's as you're competing, it's nearly impossible to think about the big picture when you're getting your ass kicked. But when it's all over, you sit down, you think about it, and we're 10-7 right now, I believe, and we're still in a good spot. So it's not like we're in a bad spot. And I think, there's probably 3 losses that we have that have been just bad. And, this one and the last one, I think Detroit, we didn't play good either. But when you in the moment, it sucks because, who wants to even think about the big picture in the moment? You think about trying to win a game at that moment.
The nature of the way this season's gone is 3-0, then 1-4, then 6 in a row, then 0-3. Like, how has that kind of tested the stability of your group, kind of like outlook-wise?
I think that just goes back to being process, oriented. Like, when things are going good, they're obviously good. You feel good. That's, anything in life. You're doing well at your job. You're happy. As soon as you hit a little speed bump, you're frustrated. And you have to, put your head down and figure out how to clean it up and get back on those, high waves. So, that's what we're doing right now. Like I said, I think that's why you bring in a system and you bring in a foundation to rely on. Because if not, then that's what creates chaos. So we're not in that right now. We just have to, be better tomorrow.
How much accountability has there been inside the locker room when it comes to like playing physical and holding people to account when it's been emphasized and you guys know what your defensive limitations are?
Well, yeah, I believe if you go around everybody in the locker room, they'll tell you things that they could do better. And you need a group like that. So, I know there's many things I could do to help our team be more successful. So, I'll take accountability there, and I know everybody else in the locker room would do the same.
JJ, first, just kind of open-ended, curious your overall take on the game.
Yeah, really like how we played offensively in the first half. Defensively, we were physical. Had a couple, I would call them game plan mistakes. I thought we had a better first half than the score. Just kind of lost it offensively, and we weren't getting stops on top of that. And you get down, and there's certainly could be some momentum and some energy, but I thought our guys kept playing, and I don't know what we were, 7 for 26 in the second half, I think, from 3. Thought we got good looks, but sometimes the missed shots can sort of have an effect, especially if you're not getting stops on the other end. And look, we may have to just look at some things defensively, particularly against really good offensive teams, about what our overall sort of strategies are. They kind of got whatever they wanted. Their main players got to their spots and hit tough twos, which they do, and they still took 42 threes. So.
You mentioned the kind of the third quarter in the Denver game. The third quarter is a similar margin. Did you see any similar spirits?
No, our guys kept playing. It was a tough night.
Did you have any information on Jackson Hayes?
I have not received any yet.
We talked about this at the last game, and I guess maybe it's not the same kind of looks, different defense, all that stuff. But LeBron had high turnover volume again tonight. Was there any of the same reasons tonight that you've seen in some of these other games?
No. I maybe remember maybe 1 or 2. I know one for sure that hit Jackson in the face, but I think we converted once on 9 transition opportunities. Some of that was we weren't getting a ton of stops, but I think just overall, we've been great in transition throughout the year. Not good tonight. That's not just LeBron. It's everybody.
JJ, you mentioned that after tonight, you guys may have to reconsider, look back over your defensive strategies. I guess in real time, because it's not just tonight, it's been the past few games, the defense hasn't performed at a high level. What, I guess, have you seen slip even more recently? Or do you think just on right now that needs to be looked at within that?
Yeah, I would say if you think about being disruptive, I think it starts there, and some of it is like, personnel based, and we don't necessarily have a ton of guys that can go and pick up full court, but teams are trying to disrupt what we do, just like we're trying to disrupt what other teams are doing, and whether that's with screening action or DHOs, whatever it may be. So I think we can be better there. We can be better executing game plan. But look, I mean, sometimes against a team like this, against a player like Jokic, you can game plan all you want, but great players are going to be great sometimes. And their three guys were great tonight, and Jokic was great the other night.
JJ, you said you thought your guys' competitive spirit was still there in the third quarter, but I guess in what ways did you see the was it more the offense bleeding into the defense? Did you see or feel, I guess this is probably more abstract, but like, did you feel the defense leading to bad offense, and the bad offense leading to bad defense?
It's all intertwined.
The at the end of that quarter, I think Tyus Jones had a uncontested layup. At the end of the first quarter, Grayson Allen gets an uncontested three. Are those some of the kind of like game plan, just sort of like lapses that, when you guys are already sort of fighting uphill on that side of the ball?
You don't want to give up uncontested shots. Obviously, there's nobody that they have on their roster that you're just like ignoring. I'd have to go relook at those two plays, but if you're in rotation, if you're getting behind, we didn't do a great job in the first half with our same size switches. They made it tough. They set the angle at a flat screen. It's tough. There's a few teams that do that. So they got behind the defense there, turned the corner once. We didn't execute our stack coverage a few times in that first half. So again, you're in rotation. You're getting beat at the point of attack. Sometimes that leads to those uncontested shots.
JJ, you've been clear with the whole starter versus bench thing. That's more to you a designation rather than a role. But Dalton had obviously been in a certain rhythm before Rui had come back. It had been 5 straight games, double digits, 4 straight games with double-digit shot attempts. These last couple games have been blowouts, so maybe that's been a factor, but single-digit scoring, I think 7 shot attempts in both games. What have you seen from him in terms of just his usage and the looks he's been getting and sort of how you guys can get him in a better rhythm? Excuse me.
Yeah, I thought he's got some good looks, and maybe there is something to the flow that he can get to and the rhythm he can get to if he's a starter. Like I said to you guys the other day, I mean, everything is always up for discussion in our coaches' meetings, so we'll look at everything.
Hey, Coach. Excuse me, Coach JJ. You've seen the Suns from last year basically just starting off with this big three to this season. What type of improvements have you seen them make, like in the second year type of thing? Of course, Bradley Beal is a little bit more healthier, Durant coming back, and then Booker, doing his thing as well.
Well, they're 9-1 when those 3 guys play now, so I think we are the only team to have beaten them and nearly beat them a second time. And those guys in the lineup, they're pretty darn good. Obviously, they're doing a lot of good stuff offensively. They're hard to guard.
Thanks, Coach.